What are the medical benefits of legalized marijuana? A medical doctor will be joining me shortly to discuss this. And businesses are smiling about what's going on at Flatbush Junction in Brooklyn. And when businesses are smiling, it means that shoppers are smiling too. Stay tuned to find out. I'm Sam Taitt. Welcome to another edition of Brooklyn 45. Shari Logan has a word for pregnant women, and Yolanda Watson has an affirmation for anyone who is allowing the situation you're in to have power over you. And for you homeowners who think that you can't do your own home repairs, well, hear what Sharon Rose's guest has to say. Medical marijuana. Some polls say 80% of New Yorkers support it. 20 hospitals throughout New York are being allowed to prescribe marijuana to patients with serious illnesses. But what are these illnesses? My guest is a medical doctor at New York University Medical Center, Dr. Sunil Aggarwal. I've got it right.
Yes.
A very simplistic question. What is medical marijuana?
Professor Taitt, it's an easy question to answer. Medical marijuana is essentially marijuana, which is a Spanish-Portuguese slang word for the plant Cannabis sativa, applied to medical indications for patients who have medical problems. This plant has been used for really several thousand years, and even before recorded history, to treat things like pain and spasm and many other things. So using medical marijuana is a way to bring this plant to treat people in medical settings.
Now, what are some of the illnesses that will be allowed to be treated by this medical marijuana?
Well, the governor's program to put cannabis in 20 hospitals, they don't have the details worked out yet. I had a phone call earlier this week with the deputy director of the health department, and they're asking those questions. What things should we look at? So there's another proposal in the Albany state legislature where they say, we have a list of conditions that we'd like to bring not just to 20 hospitals, but to all patients and doctors in the state. And that includes things like chronic pain syndromes, spasms, like muscle disorders where you have tight muscles, spasticity and spasms, patients who have cancer and they have related wasting syndromes or difficulty with nausea and vomiting related to their chemotherapy, patients who have HIV and AIDS, and again, nausea and vomiting or wasting syndromes, patients who have inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's disease or related conditions. Parkinson's disease, where you have certain neurological disorders, where you're having trouble moving properly, or multiple sclerosis, where your immune system is attacking your immune cells. These are the kind of conditions that are listed in that bill, and more than likely with the governor's program, the kind of cases that we'll be trying to treat. There's even more on the horizon with mental health conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder or severe anxiety disorders, but these things will be decided if that bill passes on an individual basis between the doctor, patient, and the health department.
And no one is going to be able to walk off the street and come to a doctor and say, I have one of these illnesses, I need medical marijuana.
Yeah, I mean, if we get this law passed, it would require a whole range of, this would be one of many treatment options available to a doctor. Cannabis medical marijuana is just one treatment for these conditions, and I think the fact that patients can understand that this is some option, and a doctor can understand this is one of their options, whether it's the first line, second line, third line, it depends on that individual case.
Now, I know that you're involved in some of the research here, but have you been, I'm going to ask you anyhow, have you been approached by people from the outside who want to know if they qualify for this kind of marijuana treatment?
I mean, no, I haven't really here. I worked, before I came to New York, I was in the state of Washington, and Washington state is one of the 20 states in the United States that allows medical marijuana. That is, the doctors are able to authorize it for patients. Across the country, maybe there's 1 million or 2 million patients who are using marijuana under doctor's supervision, and maybe 10,000 doctors who have used it so in their practices for their patients. So I saw in my training different types of patients who were using it for under medical authorization. Patients with muscular dystrophy, patients with neurological disorders, patients who had, had spinal surgery and the back pain didn't go away, and they had a second surgery and the back pain didn't go away. These kind of cases we call failed back surgery syndromes. So I remember these patients from my training days, and I saw that they would be using cannabis or marijuana as one of the modalities to help them relieve the pain. And it turns out that marijuana, cannabis, this old plant which has been used in medicine for so long, has compounds in it that bind to our body's internal signaling system that modulates the pain, appetite, mood, inflammation. And so it's very useful for different conditions, and that's why that's what I was seeing in the patients.
Let me go back to what you said just now, that marijuana has been used for medical conditions for a long time, because a lot of us don't know that. We think that marijuana is just used to give you that high.
Right. No, the earliest records that we have are from ancient Chinese medicine and Egyptian medicine. It goes that far back. We're talking 3,000, 4,000 years in history. Cannabis, marijuana was used to relieve migraine headaches, cramps, spasms. It was just part of the natural pharmacopoeia of many cultures. And yes, it was also integrated into spiritual traditions and intoxication and inebriation, just like alcohol has been around for so long. It was one of the things that people utilized. And in Western medicine, modern medicine, marijuana, cannabis was there for over 100 years. From 1840s to 1940s, cannabis was in the United States Pharmacopoeia, that is the official list of drugs. So many places in New York State, you could go to a pharmacy and obtain a cannabis medicine. And doctors were prescribing it. Famous doctors like William Osler, who's the father of internal medicine, said it's the best treatment for migraine headaches. And other famous doctors in U.S. history and international history have recommended it. So it's been there for a long time. But only recently, in the 1930s, did we start to get afraid that marijuana was a damaging, dangerous thing, and it was a lot of it was more hype than it was actual fact.
But doctors are divided about this. They say that there is need for more testing. Why is this so?
Yes, I mean, doctors, I think, by and large, the New England Journal of Medicine did a survey, and more than 80% of doctors says, yes, we would, in certain conditions, we would definitely, we want all treatment options for our patients. Research, of course, always has to go ahead. Many things that we do in medicine, we still don't know exactly how it works or what the best conditions are. But, I think ultimately, when you know that there is at least some basic information available, that this drug is safe and that you can't overdose and die from it, that you don't have to worry about end organ damage, there's certain things that we should start. We should start that. But then exactly how much and for what conditions exactly and what types. There's lots of different types of marijuana. There's more genetic diversity in marijuana than there is in the dogs. All the different types of dogs there are on the planet, short dogs, huskies, big dogs, chihuahuas. And, I mixed the two up, but giving you a sense.
Sure.
There's that much variety in marijuana. So we have to do research to actually understand more about what type of conditions and what types of marijuana.
There's this discussion about Schedule I drugs, which are the most dangerous. Does marijuana fit into the Schedule I drug?
Oh no, it never did, and it never was supposed to be there in the first place. I mean, the federal government placed it there as a political move in 1970. They actually had said when the Nixon administration placed it in Schedule I, that we're going to be doing some research for the next few years, and based on the outcome of that research, we'll decide what schedule to put it in. But for now, we'll put it in Schedule I. When the research came out, they said we should remove it from the international highest schedules, and we should, make it more available. And the government never, kind of forgot. And unfortunately, it's been sitting in Schedule I for all these years. But that's not really the right place for it, no.
Sounds like good news for persons who can benefit from the use of marijuana, and sounds as though there is not that need to fear from the use of marijuana as long as it's supervised.
I think that's an excellent place to recognize. That's right. There's nothing to fear. Cannabis has been around for so long, and I think that doctors and patients will figure out how to make the best of it.
Dr. Sunil Aggarwal, who is from the NYU Medical Center and who is speaking from a position of involvement in the dispense of and the research of medical marijuana. Thank you very much for being my guest on Brooklyn 45.
Thank you, Professor Taitt.
And now let's hear from Shari Logan.
From morning sickness to achy joints, there are more than enough reasons for a pregnant woman to grab a bottle of painkillers. However, there's now evidence that this simple decision may be harmful for children later on in life. According to one major news outlet, a study from Denmark followed 64,000 expecting mothers after birth and their children over a 6-year period. Researchers found that those mothers who took the popular over-the-counter drug, which contains acetaminophen, were 13% more likely to have children with attention deficit hyperactive disorder, or ADHD-like behavior by age 7. Those same children had a 30% greater chance of requiring the use of an ADHD medication. If you want to know more, send an email to info@brooklyn45.com or go to our Facebook page and post your question. I'm Shari Logan.
Brooklyn 45 with Professor Something.
Things are looking up for businesses around the Flatbush and Nostrand Avenue Junction, and with lots of help from a business organization that's headed by Michelle McClymont, the Executive Director of the Flatbush Nostrand Avenue Business Industrial District. Welcome to Brooklyn 45.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
What changes can we expect to see at the junction?
Well, as of last year, we actually started a couple of years ago where we received a grant of $4.5 million to redo the sidewalks and add trees and benches. And we broke ground January 2013, and it took a year to complete, so we just completed the job as of December. Now you will see the new sidewalks, the new trees we've planted, tree guards, and new benches.
How do businesses individually benefit from whatever your organization has to offer? Do they have to become members of your organization, of the BID?
Yeah.
What is a BID anyhow?
Okay, so that's a great question. So business improvement districts are districts that are deemed commercial districts where the city wants to revitalize and the city wants to become areas where people can shop and live and work and they want to visit, a tourist attraction basically. BIDs are nonprofit organizations. There are 69 business improvement districts in New York City alone, and we're all different sizes, different budgets, which is basically public knowledge, but some are low budget, some are higher budgets, and we work according to the budgets that we have. So our main concern is usually maintenance and safety of the area, because even if it's a beautiful area, if it's not maintained and not safe, no one's going to come and visit. However, we make sure we hire a maintenance company. We actually right now work with the Doe Fund Company for Flatbush Junction, and they maintain our streets. And we also have a great relationship with the police department, so the local police department.
Yes.
And to make sure that they have the police officers out and taking care of the pedestrians. So those are the things that are basic for any business improvement district. And the additional funds that we have, I always call it the play money. So we can give events and festivals and street fairs and help businesses as far as to bring tourists to the area, also help them with things like websites, marketing their business, if they have sales or anything that we can do to help promote their business.
So you don't help a business get established, but once the business is there, you help them remain in business, become visible, and have the kind of environment that would be conducive to people coming in and doing shopping.
Exactly, exactly. And we can help them with things such as fixing their storefront, which is very helpful for a lot of our businesses.
Indeed.
A lot of times you go to different areas and see businesses where you say, oh, that store is beautiful, that's why I'm going to leave my area to go to another area. We want to fix our own neighborhoods and make sure that we keep our dollars in our neighborhoods. So that's one of the important things for business improvement districts. We like to make sure that the community keeps their money in that community.
Now, you mentioned things like storefront improvement and so on, but what are some of the other benefits of being associated or being around or having the BID in your area?
Okay, so one of the things, I can tell you one of the initiatives that I'm
Yes.
working on now. We wrote a grant last year and got a grant for, which is called Avenue NYC, and it's from the Department of Small Business Services. And with that grant, I'm able to fill, we have about 11 vacancies in our area, so we want to make sure that we fill those vacancies with businesses that are not typically in our area. And usually in most neighborhoods, especially cultural, and our neighborhood is a Caribbean neighborhood, so we usually have the Caribbean stores and the Caribbean fairs, where that's great, but you know, we have it at home, we have it in our neighborhood. Sometimes we want something a little bit different, and we leave our neighborhoods for those things. So those are the things that this particular grant is going to bring those businesses to our area.
So these are people who want to establish a business. They come to you.
They can come to me if you know, we look at also, the thing about bids is that we kind of copy of one another, which is why reinvent the wheel.
Why reinvent the wheel,
right.
correct.
So we copy off one another. So if you have a great business in your neighborhood and that particular business owner would like to open another store in another neighborhood, we are almost like realtors and say, hey, I have a vacancy, come to our neighborhood.
So there you have it. Opportunities for opening your own business.
Exactly.
Opportunities for improving where your businesses may be located.
Exactly.
And what is great is the assistance you provide in marketing.
Yes.
Because not a lot of companies, small businesses in particular, have that kind of expertise that's available.
That's true.
So that's really useful.
That's true. That's true.
Michelle McClymont, who is the Executive Director of the Nostrand Avenue, Flatbush Avenue Junction BID. Thank you for coming to Brooklyn 45. And how do people get in touch with you?
You can reach me at info@flatbushjunctionbid.com, or you can call, my office is on Brooklyn College, so you can call me at, the number is 347-279-6249.
And that number will be available on our website as well. Let's go to Yolanda Watson for, here's what she has. Yolanda, what are you going to tell us?
Here is another affirmation sent to us by one of our viewers. One they hope will motivate you to stay strong when dealing with tough circumstances. When you feel trapped by your circumstances, know that you alone give that situation, that circumstance, the power it has over you. Do not allow yourself to become a slave to your circumstances. We would love to hear from you. If you have an affirmation that you would like us to share with our viewers right here on Brooklyn 45, you may email it to me at info@brooklyn45.com, and I'll gladly share it with our viewers along with your name if you would like us to. That's info@brooklyn45.com. We'll also post it on our Facebook page and on yours too if you want us to. I'm Yolanda Watson, and this is Brooklyn 45. Here's Sharon Rose.
Brooklyn 45 with Professor Something.
Thank you, Yolanda. It has been a brutal winter, not only in temperatures, but also on our homes. Property owners are still reeling from the heavy battering of this winter's weather. But never fear, there's good news. Our guest this evening is Tyrone McDonald from Neighborhood Housing Services of East Flatbush, who will share some of the effective ways to maintain our homes and keep it in good working order. Welcome, Tyrone. Thank you for joining us on Brooklyn 45.
Yes, how you doing? Thank you for actually inviting me.
Okay. Now, you're responsible for spearheading a program called Homeowners Home Maintenance Training Program. Tell us some more about that.
Sure. The Home Maintenance Training Program is actually part of our mission, and our mission is a not-for-profit organization. It's to stabilize communities, and we do this by encouraging home ownership, but also encouraging the preservation and also the maintenance of properties. And the Home Maintenance Training Program actually provides people with the tools and know-how, so they can beautify their home and upkeep their properties.
So is it mainly only home beautification, or is it like fixing real stuff like boilers and furnaces and painting and wiring? What kind of things do you train people to do in this home maintenance training program?
It is part beautification, but it's also part maintenance. Like, for example, like the course covers tiling, floor as well as wall tiles. And with that, there's an aspect of beautification, as well as installing moldings. One thing the instructor always imparts to the class is that moldings can make a world of a difference. Sometimes, by just changing a molding, you know, you won't believe you were living in the same house. So you have that aspect of it. But it also covers things, let's say, like, you know, repairs. Let's say you have a drywall and, you know, you actually, in a fit of anger, punched a hole in it. How to repair that? You understand? So it covers that, you know, maintenance as well as beautification.
And like leaky ceilings, like if you had a leak in your ceiling or whatever, do you know, can it teach you how to fix that, like in terms of drywall, repairing sheetrock?
Absolutely. Also, leaky faucets as well.
Leaky faucets, great.
And what's invaluable about the course is just the little things that that they teach you. It's taught by an instructor. His name is Mark Whittingham. He's a commercial contractor. And when I sat in on the course, like with leaky faucets, one thing I've learned that there's two different types of washers. You have like a cold water washer and a hot water washer. A lot of times what people tend to do is they tend to mix them up, and they'll put, you know, the cold water washer with a hot, you know, during the hot valve. And what happens is that the hot water wears it away after a while, because in all actuality, the hot water washer is actually much more stronger than the cold one. So like these little things that you wouldn't even think about, you know, this course teaches you.
And these kind of things can save you money, I guess, and not just in beautification, but save you money in just repairs.
Yes,
right?
yeah, it does save you money because by addressing things in the short term, it actually, you know, saves you money in the long term.
Okay. How long is the course?
The course is actually 6 weeks, and it's 3 hours. And we've broken the course into two segments. So we have the basic carpentry course, which handles the tiling, the wood framing, you know, plastering. And then we have the electrical and plumbing, you know, which covers the basics, you know.
That sounds like a lot of stuff. Like, where do you find, you know, where do they teach this course? Is it like in a classroom type setting, evenings, days, nights? Like, if you're a homeowner, you might, most likely you have a job, but where would you find time to go to a course? And then, can anyone take this course, or do you have to be a homeowner?
Right. Anyone can take the course, just so long as you're 18. 18. The year
so I can send like my son or my nephew to take the course.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The course is held in the evenings, you know, to accommodate the working crowd. And it's actually held in Astoria Bank on Flatbush between Tilden and Derea Place.
Okay.
So
and that's the only location right now?
That's the only location. In Neighborhood Housing Services of East Flatbush, you know, we're looking to do some major repairs our own, and then our plans to bring the course, you know, to our site, so we can actually, you know, accommodate people. But in the meantime, it's being held at Astoria Bank on Flatbush and Tilden. And
that's in the evenings for 6 weeks. When does it start? It
actually started this week.
Oh,
this week was the launch.
The launching, okay. So can anyone still join, still sign up for the course if they want to come on board?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had such a huge demand that things got filled up quickly. But, you know, don't despair. The next time we'll be giving the class will be in September. The second week, usually the week after Labor Day.
Okay, great. And how would someone contact you if they need to find out more about the work that NHS does and or the contracting course?
Sure. I can reach at 718-469-4679, but they can also visit our website at nhsnyc.org, and you'll find out about all our amazing courses and programs throughout all the 5 boroughs. Okay.
Is there any special thing about any other special courses that NHS does or give or offer to the community that you might say is a flagship service or program that you might want to mention?
Sure. Number one would be the Home Buyers Club, which is an education program for first-time home buyers. It talks about getting started, budget and credit, shopping for a home, am I ready to buy, the role of a real estate attorney, the role of inspector. You know, what do I do after I own a home? So we have that. That's a popular course as well.
Okay, those are all wonderful and important things to know, especially if you plan on buying a home and also if you already own a home. Well, Tyrone, thank you for coming and sharing that important information with us. Tell our viewing audience again, how can they get in touch with you about the Homeowners Training Program or any other service provided by NHS?
NHS of East Flatbush can be reached at 718-469-4679. or you can visit our website at nhsnyc.org.
Okay, Neighborhood Housing Service Homeowners Contractor Training Course. Sign up next time in September. Tyrone, thank you for joining us in Brooklyn 45. I'm Sharon Rose.
Thank you.